Welcome to Business Connection. I'm Liz Spencer. We have a fascinating group with us today from CED Technologies. I have Suzanne Alton-Glowiak, Senior Mechanical Engineer, and I have Gavin O'Hare. He's the Director of Business Development. I don't think we know what CED Technologies does or what it's all about, but tell me a little bit about it.
In a brief sentence, we do forensic engineering, accident reconstruction, and then ultimately serve as expert witnesses should the work we get involved in actually go to trial.
See, I think you said a couple things really fascinating here. Forensic engineering, we hear that in the media. We've heard it on television shows, but I don't think we really know what it is. So, Suzanne, do you want to give me a little idea of what that's all about?
Forensic engineering has to do with litigation. Has to do with explaining to juries and attorneys and judges about how an accident happened and what the reasons are and what the bases are for the opinions that I would give as an expert witness.
But you're bringing the science into that.
That is correct. I'm a mechanical engineer, and when I investigate accidents, I look at it from a scientific perspective.
Gavin, when we were talking off air, you talked to me a little bit about it's about money. So tell me that. Tell me.
Well, it is all about money, as most things in business are. We get called in as a neutral third party.
Right.
Our clients are insurance companies, typically claims adjusters in insurance companies, and then also lawyers. And lawyers work for plaintiffs. Sometimes they work for insurance companies. So the money that it's all about is, it starts off typically as a claim, and the claims adjuster realizes there's some technical merits to what happened, perhaps a property loss or an accident, perhaps it's a vehicle accident, things like that. Perhaps it's a premises liability issue associated with a trip and fall or a slip and fall in front of a business. And they get us involved to try to basically bring facts to and science to the claim and help to come to resolution. If that doesn't come to resolution, then typically these things evolve into litigation. And you know, the work that we do, there's a cost to that. So the claims adjuster is making a business decision, you know, whether they're going to fight this thing or whether they need to pay out. And plaintiffs in legal cases have the same kind of concerns as well.
And that's where that neutral third party, because you don't work for either one, you're trying to find out what really happened here. So tell me a little bit about some of the engineering cases you've been on, Suzanne. I mean, give us an example of how this works.
Sure. If, well, Gavin mentioned people slipping and falling. There are ways to test coefficient of friction, how slippery a floor is. We use devices to determine that and measure that. We also look at machinery type accidents where maybe a guard is missing from a machine or somebody's taken a guard off of a machine and got their hand caught or their leg caught in a machine.
And so that must take you across the nation. You guys you're a nationwide company.
Well, we're on primarily the East Coast and Midwest. We've got 5 offices.
Well, we think we're the nation here in the Midwest.
Well, that's true. I mean, being in the Chicagoland area, it's the hub of transportation arteries to the whole country. So most of our work is probably in the Midwest and on the East Coast, but we go where our clients send us. But yeah, it's a growing industry, to tell you the truth.
So Suzanne, science has really changed in the last 10 or 20 years. So much more is available that we have figured out DNA on the criminal side of things. What has helped you in your career in the 10 to 20 years?
The ability to use microscopes to look at evidence. When we gather evidence, we're able to, you know, see up close and make pictures, you know, based on the evidence that we find. We also have more tools such as slip meters to determine coefficient of friction of floor surfaces. We also have accelerometers and other devices that we use to measure when things move.
That's awesome. Takes the guesswork out of things.
Yes, right.
What got you involved in this type of engineering? I mean, you're a mechanical engineer. You could do so much. Why this?
This is a fascinating business. Each case is different, and each case requires you to bring different types of tools to the case, whether it be doing calculations or measuring things out in the field or doing research or reviewing existing research to determine, how things should be working in the physical environment.
Lots of variety.
Yes, lots of variety.
Yes.
I was going to say something.
Sure.
A lot of your viewers probably watch TV and the various CSI shows.
Yes.
And then if they actually become a juror and go to court, they might see it's very different from what they see on TV.
Right, we tend to make things up, I'm sorry.
I-
So
I-
we do take
I
huge
think
liberties.
that might be the case often. So when we get involved, at the end of the day, our engineers are pedigreed engineers in education, licensed. Sometimes folks have PhDs, but they're using that science and the standards out there to bring that as evidence to these cases. And oftentimes in the civil world, which is, we don't do much work in the criminal world, it's
Right.
in the civil litigation world, those tools are not the high-tech stuff that probably doesn't exist that you see on TV.
Again, we're making that up.
Yeah, but there is some great, at the end, the baseline is a sound investigative engineer with a very curious nature about them, and Suzanne's a perfect example of that. She's not satisfied when she looks at a accident or a loss and says, what else could be at play here, and are there standards that apply as well?
Well, I think we don't think about the role that you played and how important that is to be that neutral third party to find out what really happened, whether it be a trip and fall to get a better protective surface or not. But you're playing a really important role. I know it's about the money, but it's also about trying to figure out what happened and maybe how it can be prevented in the future, because again, that's going to save us money, as Gavin, as you pointed that out.
Yeah, I'll just share products liability cases involve products where there's property losses or people get hurt. There was a big influx of that work in the litigation world, but it slowed down quite a bit. The reason for that is through litigation and people realizing that they're having to pay out for these things, products become safer. And
Right.
so now there's less of that. So that's a benefit to all this litigation that's going on, is it is a safer world out there.
And that must be very satisfying.
It is, it is. Years ago, printing presses were open, unguarded machines. Now they have guards with interlocks, so that if you take the guard off, the machine still won't run unless you put that guard back on for it to work.
Fascinating. Thank you guys for stopping by. I learned a lot. I'm sure our viewers learned a ton. And a lot of appreciation for what you do for behind the scenes work. So thank you. We're going to be right back with more Business Connections. Stay tuned.